A whole new season of the Michelin Ginetta Junior Championship is about to get underway here at a very sunny Oulton Park, and it breaks with tradition in as much as for this year the entirety of Ginetta's racing activity come to support the British GT package, moving away from the TOCA package, and the Ginetta Juniors have year after year produced fantastic racing. That I don't think is going to change at all, as we have another quality grid ready for this opening race of the weekend. 20 minutes in prospect. It is on the full international circuit at Oulton Park, which has not always been the regular haunt for Ginetta Juniors. The majority of their events in recent seasons have had the hairpin down at Island Bend. Only on 1 year did a TOCA event use the full circuit all the way down to the Shell Oils hairpin and back. So for many of the drivers, if not all, it will be a step into the unknown. And Freddie Slater, who was the Winter Series champion, is the man that took pole position this morning with Charlie Hart, who debuted, in fact, in that Winter Series, second quickest, and a point for pole position going the way of Freddie Slater, who comes from good racing stock. Not only is he a very accomplished kart racer, but also a few years ago, his dad, Adrian Slater, was one of the leading lights in club level Porsche racing. So the car's being brought round to the grid, then they will get their full warming up lap. So they use the cut through at Foster's behind the Ginetta safety car, and then they will be, as I say, gridded, one for proper warming up lap, and then released into battle. And if you have seen Ginetta Junior racing in the past, you'll know how frantic it can be. Some of the drivers back for a second season, others are rookies, and expect plenty of drama over the course of 20 minutes. Holly Mail is one of those that is going to be new to the championship. She starts at the back of the grid, Holly Mail for Fox Motorsport. But Freddie Slater, as I say, is the man on pole position who came into the championship really midway through last year. He was the runner-up in the World Series Karting Champions Cup for the KZ karting category, youngest ever pole sitter in KZ as well. The youngest ever Ginetta Winter Series champion, and therefore any Ginetta champion, and had made a real name for himself in karting, runner-up in the Italian Championship, winner of the CIK European Championship for the 12 to 13-year-olds. He was a winner of the Champions of the Future as an 11 to 12-year-old category entrant. He was the CIK World Championship winner. The list goes on and on and on. So taking the great pedigree that he has from karting into car racing, there is number 7 Freddie Slater then, who's going to line up on pole position. But number 50 alongside is Charlie Hart, whose father Chris used to race on occasions in chevrons in British GT. His grandfather, from memory, Stan Hart, raced trucks. So again, a good racing pedigree behind Charlie Hart, and he is perhaps the man most likely, really, in the elite motorsport entry to take the battle to Freddie Slater. He gives away a bit in terms of experience, but he was impressive this morning in qualifying. The good thing about the fact that they're on the full circuit and no one's raced on it before is that it's a good leveller. So there is Freddie Slater, the man on pole position. Charlie Hart will line up alongside him, and Freddie Slater for the R Racing team, which again has established itself as one of the top teams in Ginetta Junior racing. Over his shoulder there is Charlie Hart. The second row of the grid, 33, is Hugo Schwarzer, who is a car racing rookie, the first German driver in the championship since Sophia Flörsch way back in 2015. That's Charlie Hart's elite motorsport car, Eddie Ives' team elite, which is here running cars in Ginetta as well as GB3. That is Hugo Schwarzer. So did a good job this morning, and of course the way that qualifying works for Ginetta Juniors has this slightly quirky system of a random order being decided and the drivers being allowed out in that order for an out lap, 3 flying and an in lap. The reason for that being that you therefore don't have the opportunity as a team to shuffle cars around and do too much towing, which was always one of the benefits of a big team and the downsides to being either a single entrant or in a smaller team. Alicia Palmovsky is another of the elite motorsport drivers. She rides up 4th on the grid as the green flag waves then to get the formation lap underway. Chance to get some warmth into the Michelin tyres as down towards Old Hall Corner they go. The third row of the grid is where you find Finn Harrison in the Assetto Racing car, the Simon Traves Jim Edwards team, and 78 lining up alongside is Risa Suathan in another of the R Racing fleet. So down through Denton's towards Cascades into the left-hander. Let's have a quick look at that grid. Freddie Slater then lines up on pole, as I say, with Charlie Hart with him at the front of the grid. Both of them rookies, first full season in the championship. Hugo Schwarzer lines up 3rd, and then you've got Alicia Palmovsky 4th on the grid. Starting 5th, Finn Harrison. Risa Siwerthen is alongside. Seto and R Racing on the third row. Mikey Porter for R Racing and teammate Luca Hopkinson 7th and 8th on the grid. Then you've got Mackenzie Douglas and Tom Spragg in the Prep Tech entry. Mackenzie Douglas in another of the Elite Motorsport fleet. Then you have Chase Fernandez for Seto Racing and Freddie Allen, late entry, but he's another at Elite Motorsport and one to watch potentially over the course of 20 minutes of racing. Eddie Robinson is next on the grid, and alongside is Leo Robinson, R Racing and Alistair Rushforth Motorsport, respectively the two teams. Felix Livesey for Zentech and Bria Anglis for Alistair Rushforth's squad comes next. And at the back row is going to be Harry Moss for Fox Motorsport, whose father Nick is a prolific GT racer, and Holly Mile lines up to complete the grid. So down the run towards Hislops they come, and Alicia Palmowski is your chauffeur currently as the cars come out of Hislops through Knickerbrook. Speed building at this point, up Clay Hill. Normally you parrot out the phrase under the footbridge, but the bridge ain't there at the moment. It has gone away for refurbishment, so it looks very barren there as the cars head up the hill. It actually doesn't make the hill look as steep as it does when the bridge is there, but it will return during the year, we are promised. But for now, one of the landmarks of Oulton Park, the footbridge at the top of Clay Hill, is conspicuous by its absence. So not a set number of laps, it is time, of course. The first time the leader crosses the line once the 20 minutes have elapsed, and as they come down now towards Lodge Corner, the safety car as it is will peel off into the pit lane. It's going to be a 2x2 standing grid start, but this safety car inclusion means that the pace of the warming up lap is controlled, so they don't go too quickly, nor do they go too slowly, because as ever at Oulton Park, the timetable has to be adhered to because the curfew is very tight indeed. Freddie Slater definitely starts as the favourite, but let's see whether Charlie Hart is going to be able to take the fight to him. If Slater gets away early on, it could be all about him, but we'll find out as we are set to go racing then. This opening round of the Michelin Ginetta Junior Championship. Into place they slot, then coming out of Lodge Corner, up Deer Leap. Marshals will depart from the front of the grid as soon as Holly Miles' car is in place at the very back. We'll get the green flag shown to say that everybody is where they need to be. And then the 20 minutes will be underway. So Freddie Slater, the Winter Series champion, starts on pole position. He's already notionally the championship leader with the 0.4 pole. Slightly out of position, Felix Livesey's car, but he's kind of where he needs to be as the drivers look towards the lights, which will go out now. The race gets underway with a good start being made by Slater from pole position. Good getaway also by Alicia Palmowski from the second row of the grid. But Charlie Hart, in fact, slightly ahead as they went down towards Old Hall Corner, tries to stand his ground on the outside line, can't do it, so Slater goes through to grab the race lead. Palmowski goes out wide. This is the view as they head towards Denton's for the first time then. Alicia Palmowski drops back into, third place, just being able to fend off Hugo Schwarzer, so 1 place gain despite running wide at Old Hall Corner. Cold tyres very nearly catching out 1 or 2 as they slide their way through Cascades, but so far so good. Along Lakeside Straight for the first time then. The top two, the two front row drivers breaking away as Freddie Slater has the advantage, but now Palmowski and Schwarzer trying to play catch-up. In 5th place, Reza Siwathun as the cars now head up towards Shell Oil's corner for the first time. Slater versus Hart for the race lead, and they're all bunching up already. They might have made a break into Cascades, but it's not lasted long as the cars then swing through that bank right up towards the Britain chicane for the first time. So these Ginetta G40s running in junior trim, leaping over the curb, lots of air taken by Charlie Hart and others then. That big high curb for the first part of Britain's catching out 1 or 2, and all that serves to do is just scrub off a little bit of speed. So potentially now Slater will have gained a little bit of ground, only a little mind, as they come down towards Hislops for the first time. Into the right, into the left, then you've got the right of Knickerbrook Corner itself, and Slater trying to break clear. Battles raging on lower down. We've got drama, have we? There is. There's one facing the wrong way already. It now feels like proper junior racing, doesn't it? Because you can find, inevitably on the first lap of a race, somebody in strife, and it's Freddie Allen who has rotated the Elite Motorsport car, possibly with a little bit of help, but he's got going again. That means the road is clear. It also means that the pack has broken up, look, after that leading, 8 or so as they come into Druids now. 38 on a mission is Finn Harrison's Assetto racing car. Down they come towards Lodge. So Freddie Slater leads, but in fairness, Charlie Hart is staying with him. Thought about a move to the inside line there, coming down towards Lodge, then thought better of it. It's game on lower down the order as well as number 19 there, which is Mikey Porter's. Our racing entry turns through the right hand of the leaders, come out of Deer Leap then to complete lap 1. 1 or 2 running wide, but no sign of a yellow flag over in the distance at Lodge Corner as Charlie Hart commits to the inside line, dives through for the race lead going into Old Hall Corner. Slater stands his ground on the outside line, gets run out wide over the curb and comes out ahead. Fantastic. Great defence by Freddie Slater, then right the way around the outside, and now Hart is under attack from Palmovsky as they dive down towards Cascades. 3 for the lead now. On board with Palmovsky, rides the curb on the exit of Cascades. Charlie Hart now trying to attack and defend at the same time as the cars head towards that left at the end of Lakeside Straight, through Island Bend up towards Shell. But Charlie Hart having shown intent, and Freddie Slater still having to go defensive. Now for 4th place, Hugo Schwarzer has caught back up as well. In 5th place, number 78 went through at the start of the lap, Razor Sewathon, and 6th we've got number 19 of Mikey Porter. And Freddie Slater is still not really being able to make a break. He's trying hard, granted, but he ain't getting away. Leaps over the curb. So also in 2nd place does Charlie Hart. Over Hilltop they come then, now down towards Hislops. This is lap 2, and there is a time penalty being given to number 51 of Edu Robinson, who is running in 15th place. Down they come into the braking zone for Hislops. An effort is being made there. Look on the inside, number 19 it is. Mikey Porter fends off the challenge of Finn Harrison. That was more a defensive line than an attacking line, but Harrison looking the quicker of the two right now, crawling all over the back of him as the cars make the climb once more up the hill. And there, look, suggesting let's work together. Mikey Porter trying to here get the 2 cars together rather than squabble and delay each other, go after that leading quintet heading up towards Druids. Squeal of tyres as they come out of Druids now then. Mikey Porter hanging onto the place. As for the race lead, Freddie Slater goes defensive. To the outside line comes Charlie Hart. Thinks about the inside, brakes late, the car quivers, but there wasn't really a gap then as they come into the corner. Nose to tail out of Deer Leap. Over the timing line they come now. Now this is Palmovsky's view. That was at the back of Charlie Hart. This time Slater covers off the inside line, diving down towards Old Hall, but he's still not getting away. 4-5 for the race lead. Great start to the season this as Palmovsky looks for a way past Charlie Hart once again. Down through Denton's, heading towards Cascades. Is there a gap to the inside? There isn't. Charlie Hart's positioned the car absolutely beautifully. He, in turn, can't find a way past Freddie Slater. The gap as they started this lap was 0.166 of a second. Eddie Robinson's time penalty, I suspect, is for a full start or an out-of-position start. We're not having that confirmed, but the time penalty will be applied post-race. The leaders then, out of Island Bend, absolutely on the limit there with Slater. That means he just drifts out a little bit wide. He's able to come back onto the racing line towards Shell, but he cannot shake off Hart. Palmovsky runs 3rd, Schwarzer 4th, Sewathon is 5th, Porter 6th, and Harrison is 7th. And they are all now in a line for the lead. Again, they come bouncing their way over the curbs. And this time around, there's a battle on again for 6th in replay. Mayhem at Lodge Corner a lap ago. And amongst those that were sorted out there, Leo Robinson, I think Felix Libsey was the other one involved in all of that. They have both survived, albeit delayed. Right, the leading, what have we got? 7 through together. Still amazed the cars are taking all that punishment of the curb hopping coming into Britain's, because it's a very high curb and you can see how much abuse the cars are being given. But for now, they're doing all right. They've got 3 races over the weekend, so come Monday evening, it could be a different story. Down towards Druids come the race leaders, nose to tail once again. Charlie Hart looks for the inside line coming out of the corner. Freddie Slater has the advantage still, but he cannot shake off Hart, who goes to the inside line. Again, gets a face full of Slater. Down to the outside line, possibly. Now, Hart's got to be careful not to leave the door open and let Palmovsky have a chance to challenge, who in turn has got then Hugo Schwarzer behind. And whereas last lap it was 7 for the lead, we could be up to 9 pretty soon, because Luca Hopkinson is catching up, and so also is Mackenzie Douglas. Over the line come the race leaders. That's only 3 laps in the book, and a lot has happened. That's a big, big moment for 5th place. Sewathon puts him way out wide, sideways all over the curb and onto the grass. He caught it, but he's lost a load of ground as a consequence. Top 2 together then. We're on lap 4, 13 minutes and change on the clock as they dive down through Cascades then. To Lakeside Straight once more. Now, is Hart biding his time, working out where Slater is strong, where he's weak, ready to pounce in the second half of the race, or is he genuinely unable to make a move? Through Island Bend they turn. This is where Slater goes just a touch wider, keeps up the momentum, and then has to dive back to the racing line, but makes a mistake and gets crossed up into Shell, goes out wide. This is Hart's best chance yet. Side by side off the corner. but he hasn't quite got the drive, Charlie Hart, to fully level as they go up towards Britain's. So again, Slater it is that has the lead. Big whack over the curb by all of them, and this time it's Hart who makes a mistake and goes wide, and now, look, right up alongside him goes Palmowski. Alicia Palmowski goes through as they come over the brow of the hill, side by side for third, really, because dropping back and back is Charlie Hart. He's down to fourth place. So all of that energy put in to try to get the race lead, and rather than go one up, he's gone two back. Freddie Slater with now an advantage on this fourth lap of the race. He leads the way, and Charlie Hart down to fourth is going to have to really fight now to see what he can do, not only to think about the race leader, but also to try and wriggle through this traffic. On his side is the fact that Palmowski and Schwarzer are still fighting, but while they're squabbling, this for the first time is giving Slater a chance to drive away, because for the first corner, really, he's not having to defend. He's pressing on, he runs it wide up the dirt. More battles rage on lower down. Look, Charlie Hart, number 50 to the outside line. A big dive to the inside by Hugo Schwarzer. He goes second then, and Charlie Hart sticks his nose up the inside of Palmowski. Does it work? Not quite. Are they going to be side by side out of Deer Leap then? Again, no. Charlie Hart's car, good under braking, and he's brave, certainly, but it doesn't seem to have the acceleration out of the corners that others do. Palmowski was down to third, now back up to second, and as Schwarzer goes wide, through on the inside goes Hart as well. Great racing this. Freddie Slater is away and gone now, 0.8 of a second up the road. A long way back, 38, recovering. Finn Harrison has done the fastest lap, having had a moment and fallen away earlier. So second again is Alicia Palmowski. Third, it is Hugo Schwarzer. Fourth currently is Charlie Hart. That's now changed, so Hart's up to third, Schwarzer is fourth. In fifth place, who have we got this time? Number 19 it is, Mikey Porter. And he's trying to stay with that leading gaggle now, which has started just to drop one or two of the others. Seaworthen, for example, running in seventh place, battling currently with Mackenzie Douglas. And is this going to give a chance for Freddie Slater now, with clear road around him, to do the fastest lap of the race? We're almost into the second half as he comes up towards Britain's. Again, fires it at the curb. That's Palmowski in second place. Behind Palmowski, Charlie Hart. Now calming and starting to push on once again as they come over the brow of the hill. So as they come down now towards the Hislop chicane, nose to tail for second and third places. And as we've seen other drivers do in the course of the race, Palmowski trying to get Charlie Hart behind to work with the number 21 car in second spot, the Elite Motorsport entry, and therefore if they don't fight, they will be quicker and go after the leader. Charlie Hart may feel, though, that he's being held up by Palmowski, and if he can get past, will have better pace, so he might not want to play Palmowski's game here. Let's see what they're doing in the sectors, because they were slower in sector 1 and they are slower in sector 2, possibly because Palmowski is defending, and if he didn't have, if there weren't any defence, then they might be able to go quicker. But Charlie Hart outpaced Palmowski anyway. Down they come towards Lodge Corner, and Charlie Hart does make a move to the inside line and goes through, and Hugo Schwarzer tries to go by as well. So Alicia Palmowski forced out wide, one place lost, possibly two, because Hugo Schwarzer comes up now to the outside line. And that's going to be the inside down towards Old Hall Corner. So any thought of working together has gone out of the window as far as Alicia Palmowski is concerned, especially now that Mikey Porter tries to get involved, and there's contact as well. Bit of hip and shoulder there that forces Alicia Palmowski wide. So second into Lodge, and fifth by the time Alicia Palmowski gets down towards Cascades. That was not in the plan. Now 1.7 seconds is the gap between the leaders as Palmowski fights back and goes fourth on the inside line there, turning through Cascades. Alicia Palmowski doing a really good job despite being roughed up a little bit here. She's fought back, gained a place, as there a bit of a slide from Hugo Schwarzer ahead. The car drifts its way up now towards Shell Oil's corner. This time it is number 19 Mikey Porter that goes out wide. But Freddie Slater away and gone. Now let's look at the sectors, because in the first he was a 10th quicker than Charlie Hart, and we're into the second half of the race now, 8.5 minutes to go. There's the leader on his own, but if he doesn't have to think about what's going on behind, so Charlie Hart might be able to bring down that gap. And if he gets within a given amount of distance, then the tow will help him as well. Great overhead shot as they come through Hislops and then turn into another landmark at Oulton Park, Knickerbrook. There, number 19 turns through Mikey Porter, another graduate of karting, currently down in 5th place as the race leader Freddie Slater heads uphill and is still building the lead. So try as he might, Charlie Hart looks as though he's lost too much ground early on in the race. He's also got to be careful then of what's going on behind him, because Hugo Schwarzer, who is getting stronger in the second half of the race, qualified third, fell back, has retaliated to third place. He's on the back of Charlie Hart now, might also be thinking about making a move. Hart a little bit deep, possibly into Lodge corner this time. Lots and lots of task wheel. He runs out wide up the curb. Hugo Schwarzer is just about level as they come out of Deer Leap. Now down towards Old Hall corner. So the German driver on the inside line. Hugo Schwarzer then to try to take second place. The Elite Motorsport entry. Breaks late, dives through. And the field hockey player is up to second place. This is Palmowski's view, catching back up again. So now she's had a go at being in second. So has Hart. It's Schwarzer's turn. First of all, to see if he can shake off the challenge of those behind and therefore go after the leader, who is 2 seconds up the road. Fastest lap of the race now, though, by Reza Siworthan, currently running in 6th place at 2 minutes 2.7 as Charlie Hart tries to go back into second spot on the inside line at Island Bend to no avail. This second half of the race, though, proving to be much, much easier for Freddie Slater. Doesn't need to defend, can concentrate on his own lines. And 2.2 seconds in Ginetta Junior terms is a massive margin. He's doing a very impressive job indeed now, not putting a wheel wrong, whereas it is still as frenetic as ever for second place. Rattling over the curve, Hugo Schwarzer comes now up towards Hilltop. This is Alicia Palmowski's view over the brow and down once more towards the Hislop chicane. Behind in 5th place, it is Mikey Porter. Reza Siworthan 6th at the start of the lap, and a big, big effort being made there by Finn Harrison, who tries to get up the inside of the car of Mackenzie Douglas. It did not work, but not for the want of trying. And the pair of them now being given a very hard time indeed by Luca Hopkinson, another of the R Racing entries, as they're being squeezed onto the grass. Going up the hill is Harrison. Just about gets away with that. That's, again, the bravery of Ginetta Junior Racing. Even if you've been edged towards the green bit, keep your foot in. So Finn Harrison for Assetto on the back there of Mackenzie Douglas. They come out of Druids. The second place fight down towards Lodge, and this time Charlie Hart goes back through on the inside. Hart second, Schwarzer third, Palmowski fourth, Porter was 5th, but I think Siworthan has got ahead. He has, and that means that Porter is down to 6th as they come across the line. Meanwhile, Freddie Slater has long gone, 3.2 seconds to the good now as they dive down to Old Hall. Charlie Hart back up into second place. Big, big dive being made there by Reza Siworthan on the inside line that forces Alicia Palmowski wide. Bounces back on. And past Palmowski as well comes Mikey Porter. As ever in Ginetta Junior Racing, the order changing corner by corner, except for the race lead. Freddie Slater has got this all under control. It's a really measured drive now. There's a driving standards flag being prepared for the already penalised Edu Robinson. Into the right of Shell they come then. Charlie Hart in second place, but not really being able to make further strides away from Hugo Schwarzer. The beauty of Ginetta Junior Racing, the shape of the car is such that it's hard to make a break. They can slipstream quite readily, and of course, with being relatively inexperienced drivers, there's always the odd mistake looming. There you see one from Siworthan, which then shuffles the order again. Even if you have made a break, a little error can soon drop you back into the pack. That's why it's very impressive to see the way that Freddie Slater is going, error-free. Now, we've got 4 minutes and change on the clock then. A lap is just over 2 minutes, so you can work out roughly how many more laps we have got as there 24 goes through, which is still Mackenzie Douglas for Elite Motorsport, fending off behind him Finn Harrison in the Assetto entry. That battles for 7th and 8th places. Race leaders up Clay Hill, the bridgeless Clay Hill, and in the first sector of the lap, a further 3/10 gained by the race leader. Finn Harrison to the outside line, approaching Druids, wants to get the switch back as they come into the corner, and that off the road is Alicia Palmowski into the barriers pretty hard, and the car bounces back towards the road, but that, I'm not convinced, is going to be an easy car to get back into the race, if at all, and the way that it has come to rest coming out of Druids might well end up neutralising the race. Let us see. In race control, they'll be keeping an eye to this as the leaders come through then. So Freddie Slater leads Charlie Hart. We've got 3 minutes on the clock then. But as far as Alicia Palmowski is concerned, that's a pretty badly damaged car now, having whacked the wall. And the Elite Motorsport entry brings out the safety car. So the safety car is deployed. and we'll see whether we get a racing lap in or not. It looks as though that could now be the order. The gaps will come down as far as Freddie Slater is concerned up front, but he may be able to survive this, because by the time they've all been scooped up by the safety car and then the recovery vehicle can be dispatched, we may well have run out of time. So, shame that the race potentially ends that way, but great racing that we had, and a really impressive drive, as I've been saying, by Freddie Slater. Didn't put a wheel wrong, did he? So Charlie Hart in second place, third Hugo Schwarzer, and fourth as they came across the line, Mikey Porter, Reza Seaworthen fifth, and Finn Harrison up into sixth place, having just got ahead, as also, in fairness, had Luca Hopkinson of Mackenzie Douglas. So the cars with a red flag now being shown, will make their way to the pit lane, and so the race is stopped. And seeing that we have done, what, 88%, then that would be a result. So the cars will head to the pit lane, and Freddie Slater can take his perfect start to the weekend. Pole position and a race win. The one downside, he didn't get the fastest lap. And there is Alicia Palmowski, okay, and out of the car, but you can see the damage done to the front of it and also to the barriers, and there's no way that all of that can be sorted within the remaining time in the race. So the clerk of the course, Andy Butler, calls for a stoppage because there is no point circulating pointlessly with the chance of the restart never happening. So save some time now and get the marshals to work and get the barriers sorted out. Race stop, and Freddie Slater the winner, with Charlie Hart and Hugo Schwarzer second and third as they came across the line. Real shame for Alicia Palmowski, who'd been another really gutsy driver in that race, admittedly rising and falling up the order, but always being involved in that leading battle, and ending up with the Elite Motorsport car in need of work for the two races that will be for the cars on Easter Monday here. So the race will not be restarted, and Freddie Slater the winner, from in second place provisionally Charlie Hart and Hugo Schwarzer in third. The Oulton Park Easter weekend again has to look at the local bylaws, and that means that you can only have really half a day of activity on a Sunday. So with the amount of track time needed, there is a day on Saturday and a full day on Monday, but nothing in between on the track. Here's the replay then. Alicia Palmowski just lost the back of the car coming out of Druids, fought it, didn't quite catch it, and a big whack into the barrier. Car spins around, and here it is from another angle. Look at the top of the picture. She just loses the back of the car. It goes left, it goes right, and then left, bang, into the barrier. In a sense, it looks even worse because the barriers come away as the car impacts upon. But the net result is that Alicia Palmowski is out of the race. It will go back to lap 4, but as she was not running at the time of the red flag, will not stay in the result. So Freddie Slater, the race victor, and has just been stopped on the run up towards Deer Leap, where the officials await instruction from race control, and then they will be dispatched into the Parc Fermé area at the approach to the paddock. So Charlie Hart, frustrated, he got second, but then was denied a chance to attack for the race lead. But there are two further opportunities for the Ginetta Junior drivers over the course of the weekend. This traditional Easter weekend, headlined by the Intelligent Money British GT Championship, which has a healthy Ginetta presence this year, with more G56s within the GT4 class. 3 separate Ginetta Championships, of course, on the bill. We've got the GT Challenge and the GT Academy this year, plus single-seaters, GB3 and GB4 as well. And although it's a lovely sunny day in Cheshire today, the forecast for Monday involves a fair bit of rain, but we'll see whether that forecast bears out. So the drivers head to Parc Fermé, and in due course the result will be confirmed, but we know the winner because Freddie Slater absolutely dominant once he got away, with a bit of squabbling behind that delayed all involved. So the championship, which will move after the 2 further races here to Silverstone Grand Prix circuit in May, then to Donington, Silverstone in the start of June, one of 2 all Ginetta race weekends, 2 Ginetta festivals planned for the year. Then Snetterton, Cadwell Park for another of the Ginetta festivals, Brands Hatch and the end of season British GT event will be the end of season Ginetta rounds as well at Oulton Park, the traditional home for the final round of the championship. So the fans looking forward then to further action, and the cars for the subsequent races will be brought forward as soon as the track is clear. As I say, there's barrier damage to sort out, and so too there is the battered car of Alicia Palmowski to remove as well. Many of the Oulton Park faithful over the Easter weekend treating this as a weekend where they can come and camp and make a real Easter festival out of it. And while we confirm a result, which I think now has just about been resolved with Alicia Palmowski taken out of the results as not running at the time of the red flag, we can have a look at the highlights of the opening Michelin Ginetta Junior Championship race. A great start by Freddie Slater put him into the lead heading down towards Old Hall Corner for the first time, but Charlie Hart was not to be denied. Alicia Palmowski in that fight as well, and from fourth on the grid around the outside grabbed third through Old Hall Corner. And Slater and Hart rubbed paintwork going into turn one. Alicia Palmowski ran wide but was able to get back onto the racing line and move ahead of Hugo Schwarzer. Early dramas between Felix Livesey, who would ultimately retire from the race, and the Algerian Leah Robinson, as Freddie Slater and Charlie Hart continued to battle over the race lead. Hart made a big dive on the inside at Old Hall Corner, but Slater stood his ground on the outside and came out ahead. After that, Charlie Hart did his best to apply the pressure. A tiny error by Slater at Shell forced him out wide, but that was a very minor mistake as others were squabbling behind. Hugo Schwarzer up on the inside of Alicia Palmowski, for example, as the fight for third and fourth battled on, and way out wide bounced Finn Harrison. He got back onto the road, but places were lost as Alicia Palmowski got it all wrong coming out of Druids and ultimately brought out a red flag after this big hit. Freddie Slater then, the winner of the opening Michelin Ginetta Junior Championship race of 2023. So let's confirm the result then, which is taken at 7 laps and confirms Freddie Slater the winner from Charlie Hart and Hugo Schwarzer third, Risa Siwerthan fourth ahead of Mikey Porter, and then Mackenzie Douglas at 7th, Finn Harrison ahead of Luca Hopkinson. In 9th place it was Chase Fernandez, and to round out the top 10, Bria Anglis. And as the cause of the stoppage, or effectively not running at the time of the red flag, Alicia Palmowski not in that result. So 2 further races for the Michelin Ginetta Junior Championship over the course of this Easter Oulton Park weekend, and if that is anything to go by, we are in for a treat. Just also to make the point that Mackenzie Douglas wins that junior section, the best of the rookies being Freddie Slater. So then the drivers will be making their way to the podium, and the clear-up operation is already underway over at Druids as a very happy Freddie Slater makes his way, there he is, nearest the camera, to the podium. And if you're thinking racing drivers look younger every year, you're not wrong. Charlie Hart and Hugo Schwarzer there as well.
So easy to make a mistake.
So in a moment then the drivers are going to be called forward. The top 3 also in that rookie category as well as being the top 3 overall.
That was quite a long time as well. We must have done at least 10 laps, maybe 8 laps.
Charlie Hart in the middle, discussing the race
20 minutes,
with Hugo Schwarzer on his right.
When the tyres are falling off, that should be
first one.
yeah.
That's why I think.
Right, Hugo Schwarzer called forward then for 3rd place. 2nd place will be Charlie Hart. Trophy in the air for the photos for Hugo Schwarzer. First visit to Oulton Park. There, Charlie Hart taking 2nd place. His first race at Oulton. Works out which way to go. 2nd step. And then, although he raced in the championship last year, another driver new to Oulton Park, Freddie Slater, takes the top step of the podium after a measured drive. Just one tiny little error up at Shell Oil's corner. which he was quickly able to make amends for, and so Freddie Slater takes honours in the opening round of the Michelin Ginetta Junior Championship. The top three get together on that top step of the podium for the photos. Is that the pattern for the year? Well, we'll find out on Monday for more action from the Ginetta Juniors, but for now, third, Hugo Schwarzer, second, Charlie Hart, Freddie Slater, the race winner. And the suggestions are, given the quality of racing we've had, that there are going to be a whole host of other drivers bidding for podium places over the course of not just this weekend, but this season. And again, the fascination of Ginetta Junior racing in part is to watch how certain drivers progress, and as the year goes on, they get further and further and further up the order and go from being perhaps midfielders to race winners by the end of the season. So as Freddie Slater celebrates his race win, we'll look forward to more of the same on Easter Monday from Oulton Park. 2 further Ginetta races to come later on today, but for now from Oulton Park, it's goodbye.